Hello everyone. Today I have a story that will grip you from the very first moment. It's about trust, betrayal, and standing up when those closest to you turn against you. Stay with me because what happens next will shock you and leave you speechless. The door was already open. I remember saying it out loud, like the house itself had answered me before he could. My name is Elena Whitmore. I'm 34. How do you stand beside someone through their weakest moments, only to realize you were never part of their future? The key felt cold in my hand, heavier than it should have been. I had imagined this moment so many times, walking in together, maybe laughing, maybe crying a little, finally calling something ours. But the laughter I heard wasn't his. It was sharper, louder, unfamiliar. I stepped inside slowly. Suitcases lined the hallway. Not one or two, but enough to stay. Children's shoes scattered near the wall, bright and careless. A toy car rolled across the floor and gently tapped against my heel, like it had been waiting for me. For a second I thought I had the wrong house. Then I saw his sister standing in the kitchen, pouring herself a drink like she owned the place. She didn't even look surprised to see me. Just glanced up, then smirked. Her kids ran past me, through the hallway, toward the rooms I had already imagined as mine. And him? He was standing there, silent, watching. Something inside me didn't break. Just went still, like a house that realizes it was never a home. The silence stretched longer than it should have. I stepped further inside, closing the door behind me slowly, carefully, like I didn't want to disturb whatever lie was already living here. One of the kids brushed past me again, laughing, dragging a blanket across the floor. It left a soft trail behind, like a line I wasn't supposed to cross. His sister finally spoke. "Oh, you're here already?" Already. Like I was early to something that had never been mine. I looked at him. He shifted his weight, avoided my eyes, then gave me that same tired expression I had seen so many times in the hospital. The one that used to make me soften, the one that made me stay. But today it felt rehearsed. "I was going to call you," he said quietly. "Call me. After I wired the final payment. After I signed every document. After I chose the paint, the flooring, even the kitchen tiles his sister was now leaning against like she picked them herself." I nodded slowly, my fingers tightening around the key. His brother-in-law walked in then, chewing something, looking me up and down like I was the guest. He smirked. Not even subtle. His eyes drifted to my kids standing behind me, holding onto my coat, confused, quiet. Then he said it. "They don't belong here." Not loud. Not angry. Just certain. Behind him I heard his sister laugh softly. Not shocked. Not uncomfortable. Amused. And the man I almost built a life with? He said nothing. That was the moment I realized. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a decision. For a moment, no one moved. Even the air felt different. Thick. Heavy. Like the walls were listening. My son's hand tightened around mine. I felt it, small, warm, unsure. My daughter leaned into my side, her face pressed against my coat like she was trying to disappear. And still, no one corrected him. No one said, "That's not what we meant." No one said, "This is her house." I looked at his sister again. She was stirring her drink slowly now, watching me over the rim of the glass, that same mocking calm sitting on her face like it belonged there. "You should have told her," she said almost casually, glancing at him. "Told me what?" He exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. That same gesture. The one I used to read as stress. Now it just looked like guilt trying to hide. "Elena," he started, but the words didn't come out right. They didn't come out at all. So I answered for him. "This is temporary, right?" I said softly. Not because I believed it, but because I wanted to hear how far he'd go. His brother-in-law chuckled under his breath. Not even trying to hide it this time. His sister didn't smile anymore. She just looked at me like I was slow. And then she said it. "We needed the space more." The word echoed in my head, bouncing off every late-night hospital visit. Every bill I paid without asking. Every time I sat beside him while machines kept him alive. More than that. More than me. I looked at him one last time. Waiting. Hoping, maybe, something human would show up. But all I saw was silence. And silence can be louder than betrayal. Silence has a sound. Soft, almost polite. But it cuts deeper than shouting ever could. I let go of my son's hand slowly. Not because I wanted to, but because I needed both of mine steady. More, I repeated, barely above a whisper. The word tasted strange. Like something borrowed, something that didn't belong to me anymore. His sister set her glass down with a quiet click, the kind that felt louder than it should have been. You have your own place, don't you? She added, shrugging slightly. We needed a fresh start. A fresh start. In a house I paid for. Behind me my daughter shifted. Mom, is this not our home? She asked softly. That question didn't hurt. It emptied something. I bent down slightly, brushing her hair back, forcing a calm I didn't feel. We're just visiting, I said. The lie came out too smoothly. When I stood back up, I looked straight at him. This was supposed to be our start, I said. He finally met my eyes, but only for a second. Then he looked away again, like holding my gaze required something he no longer had. It still is, he muttered. Just different. Different. That word again. Another soft excuse wrapped in something that sounded reasonable, until you looked at it too closely. His brother-in-law laughed quietly, shaking his head. You're making this bigger than it is. Bigger than it is. I glanced around the house, the open bags, the scattered toys, the comfort they had already settled into. No hesitation. No permission asked. Just taken. And suddenly something inside me shifted. Not anger. Not even sadness. Just clarity. Like finally seeing a picture for what it really is, after staring at the wrong version for too long. I tightened my grip around the keys. And this time, they didn't feel heavy anymore. They felt like proof. The keys made a soft sound when I turned them in my hand, a small metallic rhythm that somehow pulled everyone's attention back to me. Not loud, but final. I think, I said slowly, glancing around the room one more time, we should clear something up. His sister crossed her arms, already irritated. His brother-in-law leaned against the wall like this was entertainment. Even the kids had gone quieter, like they could feel something shifting. Only him, still standing there, caught between guilt and comfort. I took a step forward. You said this is still our start, I continued, my voice calm, steady, unfamiliar even to me. So let's talk about what our actually means. He frowned slightly, like he didn't like where this was going, but didn't know how to stop it. Elena, not right now. No, I cut in gently. Not sharp. Not loud. Just certain. Right now is exactly when. The room stilled again. I lifted the keys slightly, letting them catch the light. This house, I said, was never a gift. That landed. You could see it, the confusion first, then the smallest crack in their confidence. His sister uncrossed her arms. What do you mean? I let a small silence sit between us. Let it breathe. I mean, I continued, every payment, every document, every signature, is in my name. No one spoke. Even the house felt quieter, like it was listening more closely now. His brother-in-law straightened up a little. And for the first time since I walked in, no one was smiling. I let the words settle like stones dropped into water. His sister's lips parted, but no sound came out. Her usual smirk had disappeared, replaced by something smaller, unsure. His brother-in-law's shoulders stiffened, his confident posture faltering. Even the kids were still, like they finally sensed the weight in the room. I took a slow step closer to him, letting my voice remain calm, almost indifferent. Do you remember all those months you were in the hospital? I asked softly, almost like a memory, not an accusation. Do you remember who handled everything while you were too weak to even sit up? He swallowed. His silence was loud. I paid for this house. I chose the design. I made the calls, signed the papers. Everything you're seeing here was mine first. And you watched. You stayed silent. The air shifted. The invisible line between us felt sharper, clearer. You let them move in. You let my children be treated like intruders. And you did nothing. I glanced at the keys again, then back at them all. My voice softened, almost cruelly gentle. I could walk away, leave it all to you, but I won't, because you already showed me exactly who you are. I paused, let the quiet stretch, and then I smiled just a little, the kind of smile that doesn't need words, but tells everyone they just lost. I walked slowly through the living room, letting my fingers brush over the counter, the railing, the walls I had chosen, the floors I had paid for. Every detail was mine. Every choice mine. And now finally they were seeing it too. His sister tried to speak, but I held up a hand. No. Listen. My voice was calm, almost clinical, but it carried something heavier than any shout could. Everything in this house bears my name. Every single thing. The room went completely quiet. Even the faint hum of the refrigerator sounded intrusive. I crouched slightly to meet my kid's eyes. You stay here, I whispered, my tone warm, protective. This house is ours in every way that matters. They blinked, relief and confusion mixing together, but they trusted me without question. I stood again and faced them, him, his sister, the brother-in-law. You see, silence doesn't protect you. Inaction doesn't make you invisible. You thought you could step over me, push me aside, but I was standing while you all were moving. His eyes widened slightly. His sister's jaw tightened. And the brother-in-law, the one who had smirked at my children, finally looked small. I placed the keys on the counter. Not angrily. Not desperately. Just deliberately. A simple, undeniable reminder. Enjoy the house, I said softly. But remember, it was built on my choices, my money, my strength. And that's something no one can take away. They didn't argue. They didn't try to reclaim anything. The realization hit them silently, fully, painfully. And for the first time the house felt like my home. I walked to the front door, my children following quietly behind me. The house was still, too still. The laughter, the noise, the sense of control they had carried in moments ago, all gone, replaced by the weight of their own awareness. I bent down and whispered to my son, "This is our life, always. Not theirs." My daughter clung to my side, nodding, the tension in her small shoulders easing. Behind me they stood frozen. His sister, his brother-in-law, even him. Each of them grappling with the truth they had ignored for so long. I wasn't weak. I wasn't invisible. And I wasn't someone to underestimate. I picked up the keys again, feeling their cold weight, now transformed into power. You thought silence and control could make me disappear, I said softly. But everything I built, everything I chose, is proof. Proof that standing by someone doesn't make you their shadow. It makes you unstoppable when you choose yourself. I smiled once, lightly, almost like letting the sun touch a dark room. And then I turned, leading my children out. Each step felt lighter than the last, like leaving a storm behind and walking into a calm I had earned. From the doorway I looked back one last time. The smirks were gone. The laughter was gone. All that remained was quiet reflection, and a lesson they wouldn't forget. I closed the door gently, letting it click behind me. Not loudly. Not aggressively. Just enough to mark the boundary. This was my home. My children's home. And my choices. Finally, completely mine.